Jersey. Oh, this is DVVC's summer quarterly meeting. Welcome to everyone. DVVC is Southeastern Pennsylvania's Community Veteran Engagement Board, whose mission it is to unite military and veteran service organizations and advocates who share common goals to build programmatic capacity and increase services to clients under the umbrella of the regional collaboration. This meeting is designed to share information about DVVC events, activities, and planning, and provide resource information to DVVC members and others working in the veteran space. At this time, I will ask you guys to please add your name, your email address, name of your organization, and a link to its website and a phone number, if you would like, into the chat box. You can save the chat box at the end of the meeting by clicking on the 3 buttons to the right of the space where you type your message. If you need information on how to do this, ask us in the chat box. Also, we will send a list of attendees both in person and online and contact information, if given, in the chat box to everyone after the meeting, along with the chat text from the meeting. This meeting is being recorded, and the recording and PowerPoint slides will be posted on the dvvc.org. Okay. Today, we are welcoming state senators, and state legislators from both Pennsylvania and New Jersey to update the DVVC community on things the state is looking at for veterans and under their care. We're going to go again, switch it up just a little bit. So let me scroll down here a little bit. First, we're going to welcome Senator Muth. Wait, excuse me, wrong one. Sorry about that. Okay, so Senator Nilsa Cruz-Perez is going to be our first person who's going to speak. She's from New Jersey. She had attended the University of Puerto Rico, go PR, love Puerto Rico, and the University of Maryland. She is the Director of Constituent Services in Camden County. She has been a New Jersey State Democratic Committee since 1997. Wow. And has done many different things, military service as well in the U.S. Army. And presently, she has served on the Senate since 2014 and has been part of the General Assembly since 1995. So, Senator, if you'd like to get started.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I want to say good morning to everyone and thank the Delaware Valley Veterans Consortium for having me today. You were bringing all the organizations together across the region to advocate for our veterans, make an enormous difference to all of us. I'm a proud daughter, like I mentioned before, of a Korean War veteran. My daughter, Lieutenant Rodriguez, is serving in the Florida National Guard. She became among the first female combat engineer in the nation, which I'm proud of that. As a military family, we understand the challenge and the sacrifices and the commitment that our service members do to serve our country and protect our freedom. And I know we all have an obligation to continue to support them after they hang up their uniform. So to all of the service members on this call, thank you for your service and sacrifices. New Jersey have done many programs and initiatives working with the military community to enhance programs and help veterans in New Jersey. If you actually go to the website of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, you will find on a link a whole bunch of services, which if I start mentioning them today, we will never finish, but you can see all the programs that we're working on. I'm just going to brief you on what we are doing right now in terms of some of the programs. We are working on legislation right now to create, and this legislation passed, but it's at the final stages, to create what we call a Veterans Advocate Office. That is kind of like an ombudsman office. The mission of this will include to receive and investigate abuse and investigate neglect and review the veterans facilities. This is something that we want to create independently so we can actually address any issue concerning to those facilities. The governor and the legislatures in New Jersey, we are trying to end veterans homelessness, and we have a plan set in place that we are starting in 2024. We allocated 30 million, has been appropriated for this purpose, to create housing vouchers, related services, and intervention for the state homelessness veterans. As of 2025, the Bringing Veterans Home program is operational, and it aims to continue the 2-year plan to serve over 1,000 veterans in New Jersey. We also actually expanded the VSOs across the state of New Jersey. We only had 14 before, and now we have 1 VSO per county. And this is completely independently of what the counties are offering. I'm proud to actually work for Camden County and work alongside with Colonel Till Gallagher, who's the director of the Veterans Affairs, and we have multiple VSOs in that office. We have 4 VSOs in that office. And we're proud of the services we're doing in Camden County. So the state actually have allocated 1 VSO to make sure that our veterans have a place to go, a place to follow up, to see what they're entitled and the benefit, and connect veterans to the services that we have available. So that's has been a big improvement. During the pandemic, unfortunately, we all took everybody, and it was not just the veteran community, but our nursing home suffered some losses due to the reality of the pandemic. And after that tragedy happened, the state of New Jersey allocated $21 million into those 3 facilities. 2 of them are completely, and the other one will be in progress right now, to actually create separate room for patients, to create privacy, to improve the services, to improve the facilities, so we will never be in that situation again. So that is something that we have done now in 2025. That money, that $25 million, and created single occupancy on those facilities is already in place in 2 of the facilities, and we will continue with the 3rd facility in New Jersey. So this is to protect our veterans, our Gold Star family members, our family members on those seniors facilities in New Jersey. We also are creating right now as we speak, and it's going to launch in this summer, is increased outreach for telehealth and mental health. As we know, many of our veterans suffer from mental health issues, and we in New Jersey are committed to make sure that we outreach to them and they know that they are places that they can go to receive this type of treatment. So the New Jersey Turnpike Authority, South Jersey Transportation Authority, the New Jersey Transfer are posting flyers this month to help connect veterans to VA resources. So we are hoping that through this outreach, we actually reduce the amount of people who doesn't know where to go to get this type of services. Believe it or not, you might think that we know as veterans where to go, but unfortunately that's not the case. So we will in New Jersey will continue to provide services. Count on your organizations to tell us what direction we should go. I mean, you're the one who have to tell us this is what is needed. And I'm hoping that as this conversation continue, that we continue to make changes and improve the life of the people who make the decision to sacrifice their life for our country. I'm going to briefly mention a change that might happen because the legislation passed in the Senate and the Assembly. I don't know if you guys were aware that in New Jersey, the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, the National Guard, and the VA office is all together under one department. We have a legislation that passed the Senate and the Assembly that actually the governor have not signed yet, that will split into completely 2 departments, one for the National Guard and that type of services, and the other one extremely for Military and Veterans Affairs, hoping that this is something that our military community have expressed interest of doing. I believe we were one of the 9 states that still have them together. Now we're going to separate it into 2 different departments to properly address the issues of the veterans. So that's the update that I have for today. And once again, if you go to our website, there's plenty information in our website of all the programs that we offer in New Jersey that I will ask you guys to take a look. And many of you are very familiar with this, but I will ask to look. And if it's something that needs to be improvement, by all means, call us, because we will be willing to do what is needed to help our veterans. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I had to do the audio. Thank you, ma'am. That was amazing. I absolutely love what we have in New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. I work in Pennsylvania, so I know all Pennsylvania, but I live in New Jersey. I live 2 miles from Doyle Cemetery, and I just absolutely love what we do for New Jersey. Do we have any questions, or can I go on to the Assemblyman Spearman, because he also has to leave early, as he has also another appointment. If we can go on to him, does anybody have any objections? No? Okay,
Tammy, I
good.
think we're
All
good.
right.
No questions in the chat.
Okay, so I'm going to go on now to Assemblyman Spearman. He has another Rutgers guy, awesome, and an MBA, BS out of Rutgers, and an MBA out of Temple. He's been part of the South Jersey Transportation Authority, Camden County Improvement Authority, lots of things here in Camden County, City of Camden County Council. Legislative Service General Assembly has been since on the General Assembly since 2018. Is on Commerce, Economic Development, and Agriculture Committee, Children's, Family, and Food Security. He's the vice chair and is on the Budget Committee. So welcome, Assemblyman Spearman. You can take the mic.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for all you're doing. Thank you, Delaware Valley Veterans Consortium. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to work along with the veterans. Thank you, Ted, for your work with the veterans in Camden County. I appreciate that too. And of course, my senator, who is a huge advocate for veterans. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm going to cover 6 areas today, starting with education and career support. So in New Jersey, we have programs to support tuition. We have tuition support programs. Veterans can get a credit of up to $400 a year, $200 a semester for tuition support. We also have free in-state tuition for POWs and MIAs and their families and dependents. We have assistance for war orphans of up to $500 per year for scholarships for 4 years. So not just for 1 year, but for 4 years. We also have veteran employment preferences for veterans in New Jersey. Veterans are moved up to the top of the New Jersey Civil Service list. For those of you who are familiar with New Jersey, if you would like a government job, most of the government jobs are through civil service, and there's a list created by civil service for each position. Veterans automatically move to the top of the list, so that they have first preference on jobs with the New Jersey state government. That's not just the state government, but also the county government and the municipal governments. So that's a great opportunity there. Let's go on to recreation and wellness. We have free entry for veterans to all state parks and forests. And that's not just for veterans, but also for National Guard members, disabled veterans, and Gold Star families. Disabled veterans get free permits to drive motorized vehicles in state parks and in state beaches. The New Jersey National Guard Training Center at Seagirt offers a private beach and also has campsites, cottages, pavilions, and picnic areas for our veterans and our veteran families. Caregiver and survivor support. In New Jersey, VA New Jersey Caregiver Support Program gives caregivers trainings and resources and access to coordinators. Also, we have nursing facilities that are state-run, and include spouses and Gold Star family members. Brigadier General William C. Coyle Veterans Memorial Cemetery offers free internment and perpetual care to veterans and eligible families. New Jersey also secured a major expansion grant in 2022, so we look forward to providing more services there. Legal and justice initiatives. New Jersey offers a veterans diversion program, diverting eligible veterans charged with certain offenses into mental health and rehabilitation treatment instead of prosecution, which can help a veteran who's having a tough time to not go into the prison system, but instead find services to help them address the problems that they're facing after their service to our country. Community connections and nonprofit collaborations. We have a number of different nonprofit organizations that we partner with in the state of New Jersey. State partners, we have partners like Unite Us, New Jersey Veterans, the Salvation Army, Operation Red Shield, Volunteers of America. They actually have a very robust program to help veterans who are facing homelessness, to help them, give them a place to stay and help them to get back on their feet. Community Hope, Soldiers On, Wounded Warrior, the Wounded Warrior Project, the Red Cross Hero Care Network, USO, of course, Rally Point, and more to connect veterans to health, housing, and employment resources. Veteran-driven organizations such as New Jersey Veterans Network and Operation Rebound run peer support events that includes camping and mentorship across the state. Finally, legislative and National Guard initiatives. The New Jersey Department of Military and Veterans Affairs includes New Jersey Army and Air National Guard and oversees state-federal coordination of emergency services and veterans affairs. I think the senator mentioned that we have legislation that's looking to separate those two so we can improve the service for the National Guard and the veterans and our veterans. Leadership has advanced programs like the New Jersey Housing Assistance Program for Veterans, for Veterans Act, offering housing modification support, and New Jersey desegregation efforts in the National Guard that date back to 1947 and 1948. That's just a few of the programs that we offer in the state of New Jersey. And as the senator mentioned, you can go to our website for additional information or reach out to our counties who provide individual services, and Ted has more information on that. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Thank you so much for coming out today, for sharing all this information. Like I said, I live a couple of miles from Doyle Cemetery. I take a drive through. Unfortunately, have several friends there myself, and have attended quite a few of the ceremonies. I particularly like the Memorial Day ceremony where the scouts come out and put all the flags in, and it is, in fact, I'll give you a background. I'm going to change my background and show you, because I definitely spent a lot of time there. Seeger is got to be like the best kept secret of ever. As if anybody has never gone to the beach, it is open to anybody that was military, any veteran. You can go there and spend the day at the beach amongst other military, your kids. I always felt very good going to that beach because I had other military that would watch my kids and I'd watch their kids, and it was like coming home, like a family there. And then as far as the legal things go, and I'm sorry, I have a very large background. I was ESGR. I worked with Bob Luby on employment stuff way back with Hiring Our Heroes. But also Camden County was the very, very first county to actually address, and I can't remember his name, but it was a prosecutor that said, hey, let's treat these veterans, let's treat these military a little bit differently. And he really initiated a program. In fact, he was put in for an award from us, from ESGR, for that for doing that. William something, and I can't remember his name, but he's very, very popular in Camden County. So I'm sorry, but and Pennsylvania rivals. I know we're going to get Pennsylvania up, but Pennsylvania working here, I've seen what they've done, and you know, it's a close call where to live, because New Jersey really, really does so much for our veterans.
We want
And
you to
by
stay
the
in
way,
New
the
Jersey.
fund made. Yeah. Like I said, I live not too far from Doyle Cemetery. I live right outside of Fort Dix and McGuire. I spend a lot of time there with my friends, and yeah, I know. But Pennsylvania, hey, you know what? We got Maureen Weigel over here, so I'm sorry. She's very right, Senator. She's very convincing, guys. You know, come to Pennsylvania. I love working in Pennsylvania. I live in, but I love working here. So, I do have one question for New Jersey. Because it is kind of personal. Real estate tax for the veterans. I do know, because I'm an Iraqi war vet, so I get my 250, but I have heard tell that they have put in legislation of us not having to pay any property tax at some point. That would be nice, but just wondering if that's still talked about.
So years ago, I introduced legislation, and unfortunately, the League of Municipality gave me a huge pushback. But it's something that we should actually revisit. I have no problem, and I'm sure Assemblyman Spearman will do the same, to introduce legislation to go in that direction once again. I have, through the years, keep posting the bill and introducing the bill to actually give all veterans that subsidy in the taxes. So let's see where we go with that. I will be more than happy to work on that. We can have further conversation on that. And I'm looking at my assembly member that if I take it in the Senate, I want him to take it in the assembly. He's a fighter.
I do know that we do get the 100%. They do get the whole tax, and that's great. I am guilty. I have not put in for my disability claim yet. Okay, whatever. But the 250 is still nice. Okay, so do we have any?
No, we want more, and there has been. I have moved the needle from totally all the veterans to the ones that are 80%, to the one. So I have been moved the needle on the pieces of legislation, but we get the pushback from the League of Municipality telling us that will drastically affect them financially, which it's not a big number. It's a number, but not a big one. So we will continue that fight, okay? And maybe we can put a bill that everybody can live with. I mean, I have introduced 100%. I have gone down to a bigger amount, more than 250.
That would be
so
good.
maybe we will continue this conversation to make sure that we put something that it will be actually be supported by everyone and pass. Okay, so I promise you, we'll work on it.
We work on it. Okay, great.
And I want to take this opportunity to really thank Ted Gallagher for the invitation. I am actually proud to work with him in Camden County, and kudos to that office, because between what we have in the state and what Camden County is providing is amazing. I mean, the entire region, but to be honest with you, Camden County do a lot for our veterans. And Ted, thank you for your hard work and dedication to our veteran community.
He is the best. But we sit on a bunch of councils together, he and I. So yes, he is the best. Do we have any other questions for the New Jersey legislatures? I don't see any in the chat. Ashley, anything?
Nope. And everyone, just as a reminder, you can put your questions in the chat, or feel free to just unmute yourself.
I don't see any. Okay, well, seeing we don't see any, let's move on, because these legislatures' time is very, very valuable, as is with everybody else's. However, I do want to move on, and let's go next with let me see here. Hold on one second. Okay, Senator Tracy, hold on. I wrote your name down so I could do this again. Pennycuick, right?
Correct.
Okay. So Senator Tracy Pennycuick, by the way, I get emails from you on a weekly basis. So your team is really good. Anyway, Senator began her military career by enlisting in the U.S. Army as a combat medic. After her, that's amazing. After initial enrollment, she transitioned to the reserves and continued her education at the University of Missouri at Columbia, where she graduated in 1987 with a Bachelor of Science in Business and Administration and then commissioned as an aviation officer in the U.S. Army Reserve. Upon completion of initial entry rotary wing flight course, she was assigned as a platoon leader to A Company of the 7 of the 150th Aviation Regiment, Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. Oh, wow, you're at Scott, huh? After serving as an operations officer in Desert Storm, she moved to the 146th Aviation Group in Kansas City, Missouri. Further assignments included platform instructor, University of Arizona, headquarters commandant, Joint Air Operations Command, Korea, air attack planning officer, Songnam, Korea, production safety officer, with Boeing, huh? In Apache plant, Mesa, Arizona, Brigade S1, 100th Training Brigade, Huntsville, Alabama. Oh, I got somebody just moved down there. My daughter lived there for a little while. You couldn't find that base. We stumbled upon it. She had many additional assignments throughout her military career. Her hold on, I'm reading some more. She continues to serve on various veteran boards. She was for 3 years, she served as the Director of Veterans Affairs in Montgomery County. Senator Pennycuick ran for the 147th House District in 2020 and the 24th Senatorial District in 2022. Boy, that's a lot. She is the chair of the Communications and Technology Committee, vice chair of the Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee, as well as a member of the Finance, Judiciary, Aging, Youth, and Consumer Protection and Professional Leisure and Appropriations Committees. Boy, you have a resume. Welcome, Senator. The mic is yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that crazy introduction. Yeah, I've been busy, moved around a lot. Thank you so much for having me here. I want to go over some bills that we have passed in Pennsylvania and stuff that we're working on. I don't think we do as good of a job as we should in Pennsylvania for veterans. So I'm always kind of looking for what we can do. So it's great to hear. And I've taken great notes on what, New Jersey is doing that I think that we could do as well. I'm very interested in the Veteran Advocacy Office. That is something that we've been batting around for a while. In 2022, we passed the Women's Veterans Day bill, and it recognized the 1948 signing of a bill by the president that allowed women to be regular permanent members of the armed forces. Prior to 1948, the only ones that were recognized as veterans were nurses. And it was crazy. Women would serve as pilots, as cryptologists. I mean, they were doing all the stuff. They would leave the war effort. They would go home, no veteran status, not even, no VA care, not even being able to call themselves veterans. So every year we recognize women on that day. And I'm so proud that the women that come out, their stories are incredible. And just, they did their service and they went home and they were moms and they were, entrepreneurs, and it's just great. So we are very proud that we are recognizing our women. We have about 68,000 women veterans in Pennsylvania. So that was really important. Recently, Act 21 of 2025 streamlines our fishing licenses for disabled veterans. So it's a one and done. Do it one time, and it's a lifetime fishing license, so that you're not having to go down to the county seat every year and get their fishing license. We're trying to make it user-friendly for veterans. People kind of forget that veterans sometimes deal with both physical and mental ailments, and going down to the county seat is difficult. It's difficult to navigate, and it's just a little bit of a stressor, and we don't want to add any more stress to our veterans. I'm very proud of the fact that the Korean Valor Act was just signed into law. We have about 3,000 Korean veterans from Vietnam that served alongside Americans in Vietnam, moved to the United States, and are now being recognized at the federal level. We wanted to include them in the state level. They are now included in the state level. They can be buried in our cemeteries. They can get the Vietnam veterans license plate. And we thought that was really important. I have about 400 that live between my district and Senator Muth's district. So it was really important for that community. They have such a strong sense of veteran pride, and just recognizing them was really, really important. We have a global war on terrorism bonus program, that Senate Bill 144 that was just reported out of Veterans Affairs. Hopefully it'll be coming to the floor for a vote in the Senate. That's the only period of war that we haven't given a bonus to. And I'm sure New Jersey hears all the time, oh, that's going to cost us so much money. But the cost that our veterans pay is so much more. And it's just a small token of appreciation. And as our veteran numbers decrease overall, I spend a lot of time explaining why it's important to continue to recognize veterans and to lift up veterans because of their sacrifice. Always a big question is real estate tax relief. In Pennsylvania, we only have tax relief for 100% permanent and total disabled. We have two different bills that are looking at how we can reduce the tax liability for our veterans that are not 100% permanent and total. So what we have done is we've looked at their disability and we've reduced the overall assessed value. So if you're 10 to 30%, your assessed value would be reduced by $7,500. 30 to 50, it'd be 10,000. 50 to 70%, it would be 12,500, and 70 to 100%, your assessed value would be decreased by $15,000, which it's not great, but it's a start. The other bill we are looking at is the complete elimination of real estate taxes. It would be a constitutional amendment. Myself and Nick Miller, a senator from Lehigh Valley, are putting that in because we really feel like, boy, when you look at the long-term effects of your service, and people often forget, you always think, oh, I'm 18, 19 years old and everything works. But when you're in your 40s and your 50s and your 60s, your ability to earn the income that you would have seen had you not been a veteran is decreased, whether it's mental or physical ailments. So we want to really look at how we can get our veterans that tax relief in Pennsylvania. And even if it's a proportion, if you're 80%, 80% comes off your tax bill like Florida does. I think it's a smart thing to do. And I think it keeps our veterans in Pennsylvania. So we also, in our Constitution is the wartime provision for service to get that real estate tax exemption. And I'm going to be really honest with you, that's a showstopper for me. We are not accountants. We are war fighters, and we train like we fight. So those soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marine that are injured in a training accident should be given the same rights and privileges as those that were injured in combat. It's absurd to think that you are not training like you would fight. So we need to remove that wartime provision. That has been referred to Veterans Affairs, and I'm hoping that will come up for a vote quickly. Additionally, we have the child abuse reporting in military personnel. We often see that military personnel, especially in Pennsylvania, we've got very small bases. We've got the War College, but soldiers will fall through the cracks on child abuse reporting. So we want there to be a mechanism where their next duty station is notified. Hey, we have an open file. Hey, there's been allegations. We want you to be aware, just to protect the child. And contrary to popular belief, that does not affect the military member's status in any way, shape, or form. And it wouldn't even if it was military post to military post. It goes from the advocacy center to the advocacy center, and they coordinate. Next up, we have the National Guard employer tax credit. So for every National Guard member that you employ, you get a $1,000 tax credit. We want to recognize those employers that are employing our National Guardsmen, that are working with the National Guard around schedules, around, pop-up missions, and just recognize them for all they're doing to support Pennsylvania and our National Guardsmen. So we have the Korean American Day, and that has been referred to the Rules Committee. And then lastly, I had a resolution to look at women's healthcare in Pennsylvania. Women often do not use the VA. They often don't recognize themselves as veterans. Oh, I didn't serve in combat. Oh, I didn't deploy. Oh, I was only stateside. So we were really trying to capture if they were getting adequate health care. Shockingly, they are not, and neither are men in Pennsylvania. And because we don't have, we've got big hubs and we're a big state, we've got medical hubs in Pittsburgh, we have medical hubs in Philadelphia, and we have CPOCs, but there's a lot of VA desert where you're not getting VA care, and you might be getting care in the civilian world. So some of the recommendations that came out of the task force were requiring veteran treatment training for all healthcare practitioners in Pennsylvania. How do you recognize a veteran? Screening for veteran status at all healthcare facilities in Pennsylvania. More training for military sexual trauma and general trauma-informed training for veteran service officers. So having, asking the question, sometimes you got to dig a little deeper with both men and women on military sexual trauma, and being comfortable to ask those questions. And then collaboration between the DMVA and the VA to create a marketing campaign to increase awareness of the Choice Program for Healthcare, VA healthcare, as well as other services for men and women in Pennsylvania. We know that women are going to make up, by 2045, 18% of veterans are going to be women. Well, some of those women are of childbearing years. And so they need to know, hey, you can get infertility treatment. You can get treatment for military sexual trauma, regardless of your discharge status. So there's a lot around the healthcare space that we want to really engage with. We've been engaged with the federal VA, but there's a lot that we can do as well. And the last thing we're doing is the green alert for veterans, and that's been referred to Law and Justice. And that would be similar to an amber alert, but a green alert would be a warning to the public for an at-risk veteran who is missing. And that could be, it was inspired, I apologize, by an Air Force veteran who suffered from PTSD after serving in Kuwait, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia. He alerted authorities within hours, but he didn't fit the criteria for an Amber Alert. So they didn't alert the public. His body was found 18 days later. And we really feel like if we can get the public engaged with a missing veteran, we can get him or her the help that they need. We feel it's really, really important that we continue to look at how we can support veterans as the war becomes more and more in the past. The last thing that is really, really important to me is the Veteran Benefit Shark Bill. We want to keep these bad actors that are charging thousands upon thousands of dollars for benefit advice, if you will, on filing a claim. The horror stories that we have heard, and they are aggressive in trying to get into Pennsylvania. And we have really worked hard to keep them out. I think we have phenomenal veteran service organizations. Maureen Weigel's amazing. She's doing great stuff across the state. But we want to keep the bad actors out. But we also want to make sure that they're not slipping in, under the guise of assistance or advice. So big shout out to our VSOs in Pennsylvania. They do an amazing job. I'm very proud of the collaboration between the VFWs, the American Legions, the DAVs, and DMVA. They do an amazing amount of work, but we're trying to work on the Veteran Shark Bill and figure out how we can keep them out. So that's a quick summary, and I'm here for any questions you may have.
Wow, you guys have a lot going on.
Not enough. We've got more we can be doing.
Yeah, I've known a little bit about some of these things, but not all of them. Again, I do work with Maureen Weigel, and I do attend a lot of events with her, and she's, you know, she really is. You know, if I wasn't the age I was and I was looking for another job, I would want to go to work for her. I would move to
She's
Harrisburg.
great.
to
Oh,
work
she's
for her.
absolutely wonderful. Yeah,
I,
she's
I
great.
know, I do. I think she's a gem here in Pennsylvania, and you guys we're really lucky to have her there. So,
Yep.
I don't still see any questions. I love the green alert. I do know, again, working in Pennsylvania, that we do have more suicides in Pennsylvania than any other state in the union, specifically in our Lehigh Valley area is where
Yeah.
most of our suicides are. I do know this, it's a fact, and it is, you guys have some great organizations up there that I've worked with to try to prevent that. I actually had a meeting with St. Luke's a couple weeks ago. We worked with them with I do TRICARE benefits, which is nothing to do here, but I do TRICARE benefits. And I was working with the COO about how can St. Luke's be more into the veteran community. And ma'am, I think I need to connect them with you because they really do, they have some things they want to do in-house, but they really want to do more outreach for the veteran community. So I think that'll be good. Lehigh Valley Health Network already does. And of course, Penn and Jefferson, Penn is just amazing. So we won't do that. We don't even have to go there with Paula and what they do. And about women veterans, I've been talking to a lot of my women veterans. You know, it's tough out there. You know, we have these great parking spaces that these people have completed, you know, that made it for us, you know, the Mission Barbecue, you got, you know, Home Depot. And I have a friend who parked in a veterans parking space, and somebody came up to her and gave her a hard time and said, hey, that's for the veteran, not the spouse. And she's the veteran. And I hear it more and more and more. And somehow I don't know how we can change the public's view of us women serving. You know, you know, it's just drives me nuts. You know, this 30% of our military is now women. So what's the deal? What's the deal? You know?
You're absolutely right. And I get that a lot too. I get that at the VA, believe it or not. Oh, are you here for a job? You know, it is very frustrating, but
Right?
you have to continue the narrative. You have to continue the conversation. My daughters still to this day, and they're both, I have two serving, you know, oh, you're the veteran. And it is frustrating, but
Mhm.
you just have to engage with those people and say, yes, and I've served here, I've done this, I've done that. You just have to educate people. And I think it's a one-on-one. But our fellow veterans, I have been really lucky that some of my fellow veterans are like, oh, have you met Tracy? Because she's also a veteran if we're in a group.
Yeah.
So we just got to
Yeah.
keep
Oh, yeah.
it going.
Vet amongst vet is no problem. That's
Right.
not what the
It's,
issue
yeah.
comes in. It's and I always say that, you know, with everything, you know, these are my brothers and sisters in arms, you know, and even those on this committee that did not serve, they're our brothers and sisters in arms as well. They know the veteran community. They've worked with us. They, you know, I can include them all, but there's just some out there that are just anyway. We do have one question here. It says, Matt Cahill, it says, have you heard of Green Star? And if so, would you support Green Star legislation?
I just texted back that I have heard of Green Star, and I would love to bring that legislation to Pennsylvania because I think it's really, really important. That's a conversation that is, people seem to shy away from it, but that is directly related to military service. And we have to have those conversations. And Pennsylvania, as you said, has a very, very high rate of suicide. And it used to be that, you know, you didn't talk about mental health, you didn't talk about mental illness, you didn't talk about suicide, you didn't talk about the stressors of war. You just had to kind of carry that burden. And I think the more we talk about it and the more we bring it to the forefront and bring it to the light, the easier it becomes to get treatment and the less of a stigma it has. And I think we need to continue to do that. I have a daughter who's a prosecutor. She prosecutes crimes against children up at Fort Drum, and they mandate therapy every week for her. It's mandated because the topics are so egregious and so tough for a young person to deal with. But I think we've got to continue the conversation. So yeah, if you want to bring me the legislation on Green Star, I will love to support it. And I'm sure that my fellow Senator Katie Muth would absolutely as well, because she's very passionate about veterans issues as well.
Thank you very much.
So, sorry, I'm just reading about what it's all about. I was trying to get me. Sorry.
If you'd like, I can give a quick blurb. It's pretty much asking the federal government for the recognition of a Green Star service banner, which is equal to a Gold Star service banner. For the last 2 to 3 years, there was a push to put the suicide families under Gold Star, and we don't feel that that's appropriate due to the benefits that Gold Star provides. And it may be a reason for a veteran to choose suicide. So we're asking for a separate banner with no cost to the government at first, and then we'll work with legislation to put benefits up underneath, such as therapy, for the families to be able to heal and move forward. Currently, we're working with Congressman Bresnahan, and we're hoping to work with Madeline Dean in order to get it passed at the federal level, but we are also approaching all the states as well.
Matt, I would love if you'd send me that legislation. I'd be happy to introduce it in Pennsylvania.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you for explaining what that is. Very Gold Star families are near and dear to my heart. But Green Star families, that would be a definite different. And I do know that the Gold Star, like you said, that legislation, but it would be definitely I think it's a step in the right direction, like you said, because what would stop them if they're considered Gold Star families under that, and the benefits, as you said. But I would still like the families to get the benefits that the Gold Star family has. I mean, I think that they are deserving of them, because if we don't do enough to help our veterans, and then they go off on that track and basically they take their life due to their military service, and what they faced in their military service, I think that those family members are deserving of those benefits. But that would just be me, but I would not want to see a service member do that just so that their family members can get the benefits, because there's already.
We have talked with larger organizations, the biggest one being TAPS and Bonnie Carroll. We've had 8 meetings so far, and we're to her senior legislative director right now, weighing these benefits and going back and forth to see if this would be something that could help these families. And what they have noticed as well is that Gold Star families are not being very acceptable to these families being placed and designated as Gold Star families. So
Oh yeah.
just at the Pocono Raceway, last year, there was 100 spouses Gold Star was recognizing. And at the end of their little breakfast and recognition, more than 50 of them came over and said, I think I'm a Green Star. So we are seeing that there might be a really good reason for this, and very close to getting TAP support. And once we do that, I don't think anything can stand in our way. So,
No.
but as much support and information and people in the know as possible, the better. So, and I'm welcome to any questions. I did put my email and my phone number in there. So if you want to reach out, please do so. Please feel free. I'm always available. And thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh, okay. You know what? Actually, we have one more set. I'm sorry. Now we have one more person to go through. Let's go there before we go on to any other questions. Hold on one second. And gotta go do this. Okay. So now we have Senator Muth. I apologize. We did go off a little bit on a tangent there. If I can read the bio very quickly. Senator Katie Muth is a Democrat representing Pennsylvania's 44th senatorial district, is known for her advocacy for citizen activism and challenging the status quo. She was first elected in 2018 as committed to representing hardworking Pennsylvanians. Is there anything else other than hardworking? Pennsylvanians are all hardworking, so I thought anyway. Senator Muth is a vocal critic of dome of corruption in the Capitol and has challenged both her own party and the opposition. Senator Muth earned a bachelor's degree in athletic training from Penn State and a master's degree from A.T. Still University in health sciences. She also worked as an adjunct professor of forget that. Kinesology and practice sports medicine. There we go. Senator Muth is a strong advocate for issues like clean water, air, and land, and has publicly opposed corporate polluters. She is also a proponent of increasing the minimum wage and combating climate change. She currently serves as Democratic chair of the Senate Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee. Additionally, she is a member of the Community Economic and Recreational Development, Environmental Resources, and Energy, Finance, and State Government Committees. Another one who is who does a lot of things. Senator Huth, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. I want to make sure everyone can hear me okay.
We can hear you.
Good. Thank you very much for having me. I want to start off by saying to all the veterans, thank you for your service. I think I've been thinking a lot about what you all have fought for and served for lately. I always think about it, but I think in the times we're in right now, it has resonated in a different way with just a lot of turbulence across the country and just rapid change of things. And I know a lot of the legislation that was gone over already of what's happening in Pennsylvania. And I'll just go over ones that we didn't discuss yet for the sake of time. That our office has been working on, but as the chair of the minority chair of the Senate Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee since 2021, I have such gratitude for veterans, active duty, National Guard, all the families who have given me feedback and shared their stories about what they've been through, because that's really helped me become a better policymaker in terms of understanding your personal struggle or what you had to overcome, or just what could be better, right? What would have been a better benefit, or what could be enhanced for you and your families. And so I just also want to say thank you for that, because this group, I've visited with you before during COVID, I believe, on Zoom. And so I know you all work really hard to advance veterans, advocacy issues, and want to say thank you for that. Some of the things we've been working on with Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veteran Affairs that we've kind of heard from National Guard members, specifically on the cost for them to maintain fitness memberships, can be close to $1,000 a year, depending on where you live in the state. But we have a bill for a tax credit so that military members, active duty, can get this up to $600 of a qualified gym and physical fitness expense per year. So that alleviates a little bit of a cost burden from that perspective, and also helps maintain their fitness requirements. We have a recent veterans property tax rent rebate program. It was modeled after the property tax and rent rebate program for seniors in Pennsylvania. This would help recent veterans with household incomes up to $35,000 when they transition out of active duty. So to alleviate some of that burden in terms of the property tax they may be having to pay. We also really are trying to work on housing for veterans. There's some successful projects in Senate District 44 that, from nonprofit partnerships have been really great in terms of veterans that have been formerly homeless and transitioning into having housing. But that's a really unmet need. There's still a lot of work to do in that space. So we've been working on a bill that would bring the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veteran Affairs and the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Authority or Finance Agency, PHFA, together to provide assistance to veterans who are experiencing homelessness or are at an imminent risk of becoming homeless. And the other piece of that is also, we've heard from some younger members of the Guard that are trying to become home buyers, some of the struggles with the market in Pennsylvania in certain areas, and VA loan program being more stringent than inspection wise versus non-VA loans, and they're losing out on the opportunity to buy homes. So we're trying to talk to some real estate people about how we can make sure that they're not just punted out of the opportunity to be one of the people to bid on a home. So that's another piece. And the other thing we've been really trying to get some basic recognition and then also resources for is those who are victims of military sexual trauma. I am grateful for the many survivors, men and women that have shared their horrific experiences. I actually have a former a veteran on my staff who she had been sexually assaulted in her experience in active duty. I'm a rape survivor. I'm not a veteran, but you know, there's a sad common bond there, and I think that you know, the statistics show this is still a problem. It's still happening, and then there's the people that need help after it's already happened. So there's the prevention part, and then the care part, and so. We've been trying for many years now just to get a military sexual trauma awareness day in Pennsylvania with no success. So I'm still fighting for that. I just think it's an important thing to recognize that this is a large portion of people that have been in our military that have unfortunately faced these circumstances. And I know it's sometimes a difficult issue to talk about. But a lot of mental health issues come out of these experiences for, as I said, men and women. And, you know, I think Pennsylvania has a lot of work to do in that space. And then the other things we've been and I've been taking notes throughout this, so thank you for everyone for your suggestions. One of the issues we have in our state veterans' homes, we have them across the Commonwealth, specifically in the Southeast, is staffing, and that is due to the pay scale is a flat pay scale across the state. So if you work in a veterans home, one of our state-run veterans homes in a more rural area compared to the one that's located about 3 miles from my house in Chester County, you have the same pay scale and the cost of living is dramatically different. So we're having a difficult time with staffing in terms of people being able to live near where they work. And that's been an issue. So some sort of regionalized pay scale we've been pushing for. And also we have a really big public transit issue on this side of the state. I'm sure you probably have heard headlines of Pennsylvania of SEPTA's battle for funding. We don't have a state budget yet, but that public transit system for SEPTA in the Southeast does you know, provide transportation to a large portion of the workforce for both the Philadelphia State Veterans Home and then also the one in my Senate district, the Southeastern Veterans Center. So, you know, having people to have access, the staff to come to work, and then also for families to come and visit loved ones is something that we're really trying to not just protect but enhance, and get some added routes to the location of the veterans home and also some of the housing I mentioned that is in my Senate district for veterans to get some bus routes on the weekends because some of them work on the weekends and the bus routes are not as expansive as versus during the week. I think I covered, making sure I didn't miss anything, everything, and I'm happy to answer questions. I think one of the things I would appreciate moving forward doesn't have to be today, but as you hear things that you hear from veterans that they're dealing with, we've heard from some of our veterans locally about having to change healthcare providers within the VA because they now have to go to the closest provider, things like that. And so you're all going to hear those things first. And I'm being very candid with you that directives from the federal government do not come down to the states quickly or comprehensively. So any kind of, you know, feedback or just like, hey, heads up, this is something that's happening. We have a veteran service officer once a month in our office, does appointments. We work with all the local county veterans offices. Everyone's trying to kind of see the impacts of these changes to benefits. I know there's VA staffing cuts coming. And I just want to say that please let us know if there are things that we need to, even if you think we know, just tell us. We'd rather over communicate those things because as I mentioned, the communication is very fragmented and it's delayed for us. Veterans are finding out before we as policymakers or elected officials are learning. And I know this is federal, but it does impact the people that we represent. So any heads up or insight or just, you know, I would say I appreciate it and it's welcomed because this is a very crazy time to try to figure out all these different changes and it's difficult to keep track of all the things. So I can take questions if anyone has them. And thank you for having me. Everyone needs a lunch break now, right? Or a brunch break. I guess it's not quite lunch.
Brunch, which is, it's still only 10 o'clock. It's not that late. It's not that late. And I don't think that, I think that, you know, you guys are so thorough in your explanations that maybe people just don't have too many of the questions. The VA healthcare, again, I'm very much involved with my work as well. And you know, the fact that they can go to a community hospital, I mean, Pennsylvania being so rural, especially, I work up in the Tobyhanna area, okay? You know, it's, people have to go to Wilkes-Barre, it's an hour drive, you know, or if they're in Allentown, they have to go to Wilkes-Barre, it's an hour drive. I also work here in Horsham, and we have one of the best clinics in Pennsylvania right here in Horsham. And I was literally just talking to a gentleman the other day and said, well, you don't have to go into Philly. There are a lot of things in Philly, but there's almost everything can be taken care of in Horsham. You don't have to go to Philly, but I have a Marine that we're going to convince to start using his VA benefits. And even if he can't go into Philly, I mean, he lives here in the area in the Horsham area here, and it's like, well, you're still like an hour's drive if, you know, to the city. I said, so that makes that you can use community service. So you could go to Jefferson or Penn. You don't have to go all the way down into the city. So, you know, we really need this more education, I think. You know, that's, you know, that's, and changing doctors, that's an unfortunate thing that the, that they don't.
You know, it's just trash.
Yeah. And Angela somebody's mic is. Does she want to speak? Okay. Okay, I don't know who that was, but yeah, if you do have, if anybody else has any other questions?
Me?
I think,
I mean, I'd like to just weigh in with what you just said about education. Listening to all the presentations, a lot of things are happening in the veteran sphere as far as both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. But it's a real challenge for us to go ahead and educate the veteran community about all the benefits that they have available to them. I find a challenge in Jersey and Camden County is just trying to, we have so many veterans. Supposedly we have thousands of veterans, maybe 18, 19, 20,000 veterans just living in Camden County. I know we only touch probably 1%, 2% of those particular veterans. It's a whole bunch of veterans we're not really touching. And there's a lot of benefits that are available from both the state and the federal levels, just trying to go in and communicate to the veterans to tell them what benefits are available to them and to make them aware of them so they can go and apply for them. So particularly at the federal level, one of my passions is Vietnam veterans, and just trying to go ahead and inform Vietnam veterans of what the VA means. Because when Vietnam veterans came back, the Veterans Affairs, Department of Veterans Affairs used to be called the Veterans Administration. And that got a stigma, which was a negative stigma. And so now it's Veterans Affairs, which has changed altogether. And so just letting people know about that is really important. So, and thank you very much for both presentations from the state of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and from the state of New Jersey. They were very, very informative. So.
I think, Ted, what New Jersey said, what they're going to be doing, and this is maybe just something for the Pennsylvania senators, is working with the Turnpike Authority and having, signs out there up to where the veterans could go, those signs along their own, because, the veterans don't stay home. They're out on the road and whatever, but to have, signage up, hey, go, call Ted Gallagher at this phone number. Not that they say that, but, the VA.gov, take care of your veterans, I mean, that is just something that's really cool to be able for the Turnpike, and the Turnpike Authority is by the way, was built on veterans. I don't know if you guys know that. Back in the 40s, the World War II vets come home and actually were the ones who built the Turnpike. So sorry, a little bit of education there. So they're very, very supportive of our veterans. And I think that would be something Pennsylvania could adopt as far as education out there, and hey, I know in Pennsylvania, you guys have some great websites that Maureen Weigel has put out there for community outreach and, just one-stop shopping. It's a Pennsylvania, I can't remember the name of it, but it's just a website for all the resources, and you can click on the county and all the county resources come up, and it's just a great website that they have. But maybe we can put something out on the turnpike with that website, you know? What do you guys think? Because I drive the turnpike all
I
the
think
time, and
that's
they
a great idea because it could be signage and then also could be at all the rest stops. Because there's
Oh,
all sorts of
Oh,
information.
you guys already have that on the the rest stops, because you could go in and it says the VFW, contact the VFW. Did you see that on the doors on the rest stops?
Yes,
That's
it's
It's
amazing.
newer, yeah,
I
yeah. So
couldn't
I
believe it. I was
agree.
like, so well done, so well done. I mean, you know, it's a little pride that I get because I drive the turnpike a lot, but you guys do that. But maybe, because those signs, they change, you know, like, you know, the Parks Casino or whatever, maybe they can put up, the website that Maureen's team has out there, the mob in Pennsylvania. So, you know, this is why we're cross talking too about what the benefits, and maybe we can share each other's ideas on what you guys are doing too, because both states are incredible. I can just say that they're the best. You know, anybody says there's more benefits here than any other, I think, states in the union between the two of you guys. So again, personal. What is, I can't remember the name of the website. I know it's on the Pennsylvania DMAVA website, or DM, and I'll find it and get it out there to you guys.
It's panavigate.com, and there's
Is
a
that it?
dash between PA and navigate,
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
and it's in the chat.
It's in the chat. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. All right, DVVC guys, anybody else? Yeah, great. Yeah, there you go. Great website. Great website. And just put in your zip code and all your everything will come up right there. All the programs. Yeah. It's a great website. We need to do this in Jersey. It's just a thought. Anyway, let's see here. Is there anything else? Ashley, Hank?
Tammy, did we get to Dan Akko's? I had to step away for a minute. Did we get to Dan Akko's question?
Okay, I
His
did
question
not
in the
see.
chat?
There are 7 New Jersey laws that could be replicated, but here in PA, there's a 1,600 state grant for veterans in need sent in by the county via SOTA DMVA. Does New Jersey have anything similar?
And unfortunately, I think our New Jersey representatives had to leave a bit early. We could always try to follow up with them.
Yes, I can,
Yes, yeah,
I can
because-
try to follow up with them on that. Yes, sure. Yeah, I'm not
Thanks, Tim.
aware of anything that's at the legislative level. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm still here on behalf of the 5th
Yes.
from the state of New Jersey, so we'll follow up with that answer.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
I do know that the National Guard does have something for the National Guard deployers. It's not for veterans, but for those that have deployed for under the family programs, there is grants for up to $5,000 for any deployed service member that needs assistance. But that's again through the New Jersey National Guard family programs, but I don't know of a state grant per se.
Yeah, it
So,
says it's state grants for veterans in need sent in by the county VSOs, so it's veteran service organizations at the county. That's the Pennsylvania or New Jersey has 21 VSO offices, so there might be something that they do. I'm not aware of that, so we'll find out. Thanks, Amy.
And anything else that we need to bring up? And I know Constance, yes, definitely, we need to have more women veteran support groups out there, you know, women veterans supporting women veterans. But Constance is a advocate for that, and she's amazing. So we'll continue to support those programs as well. Okay. All right, looks like all the questions have been answered. Again, thank you, Mike, for posting that PA Navigate. It's really a really good tool out here in Pennsylvania. Okay, let's see here. So if we have no other questions, I really want to thank all the legislators for coming on, for sharing all of your information with us, for opening your doors. I thank you, Senator Pennycuick, for all the emails that I get on a weekly basis from your office. It's amazing keeping us posted, keeping us informed on what's going on. Thank everyone else for attending the DVVC summer meeting. The slides and there are no slides, but recordings will be posted on the DVVC's website. Our next meeting will be our planning meeting, which will be a hybrid. We're going to try to have it on site. Location is to be determined. It is set for October 17th. So mark your calendars if you'd like to attend October 17th. We will send out emails. And if nobody has anything else, just have a great rest of your summer and we'll see you in the fall. If the board would like to stay on, we can chat for a couple minutes.
I can stay on, Tammy.
I actually had a quick question before I sign off.
Sure.
So the question regarding the $1,600 state grant, I just wanted to double check. Does anyone know if that's the VTF grant program in Pennsylvania?
Dan's still on here. Dan, can you speak to that? I don't know if he's actually there.
He said yes. He replied
Oh,
to the
good.
chat. Perfect. All right. We'll follow up with that. Dan, if you don't mind leaving your contact information below, I'll make sure we follow up and provide that.